Good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco, coming to you. We're both coming from the same place. We're in Southern Connecticut. What'd you think? Well, go ahead, introduce yourself, Gladiator Guru, and then let's talk about the weather because I know how much you love that weather. So
I went to bed at 4:30 in the morning. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita. And I first started, my phone alerted me that we were going to have rain at 3 in the morning. So I'm pussyfooting around between the computer and the living room. And I come to get some hot water at 2:37 a.m. You hear the peep, 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 the patter, and then you see the lightning, and it was lovely. I was up till 4:30 this morning, so I'm tired. Look, I am tired. But yeah, I think the just the sound of the rain is healing, and followed with the lightning and thunder. What does that say? It's like that break in the darkness, and where the sky's crying and it's dark, and then you get that streak of light seeping through the darkness. If you look at it like anything, is everything you read.
Oh, it was fabulous. I had my windows open because it's been so cool over here. And it was just so nice to like wake up and then hear the rain was really coming down and it just sounded so great. And then all of a sudden it was just dark enough to where you could see the lightning, and it was so nice. It was just, I was just laying there and then it's already stopped. And then I went out to go pull in the, get the newspaper and pull in the garbage can. And there's no rain and it's damp out, but it's so cool out. And it's just like you hear like the birds and you feel the wetness, like the life. Sometimes when you after a rain, it's like you feel kind of damp already. Like you walk out and you're like, oh God, it's like it, but this was different. It was cool. And it was just like really like I just wanted to stay out there. It's not sunny out, but I just wanted to stay out there because it was just so it felt like life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the mist caresses you. It's like kisses in the mist after you go out in the rain and it's this cool out.
I love that. Kisses in the mist. I'm having trouble sharing our stuff this morning. How about
Like,
you? Have you been able to share it? Facebook is being wonky, it looks like. Let me try to get this. Yeah, it's weird. It's yeah.
hello, Milagros and Arlene. Good
Good
morning. It is
morning.
refreshing, Arlene. It is, and that's what I think we complain so much when it's raining out. Like people consider it a ruined day or a day where all your plans has to be changed. But let me ask you, have you ever just danced in the rain? Like literally got out your car and started spinning as you're walking up your driveway or up your stairs? Have you ever just run back and forth in your yard? The dancing in the rain, especially of course here in Connecticut, you'd have to do it in the summer, but I love it. Have you?
I
Arlene,
I
Arlene
don't
Milagros.
I don't think I've ever danced in the rain, but I've definitely walked in it. I've stood in it. I've sat in it. I used to not like walking in it, but because I've been walking so much and I didn't want to miss a walking day, I've just learned to just make it work. And it's funny, my sister, who's an avid hiker, she just left, she went back to the West Coast, but she always says, there's never a bad day. What did she say? There's never a bad day for hiking, only bad equipment, like, or something like that. Like, in other words, you can hike in any weather, or there's never bad weather. It's only bad equipment or something like that. So, and it's true because once you get used to it and you just say, well, I'm going to walk today. I don't care. In fact, when I woke up this morning going, geez, is it going to be like this when I go walk today? Because it's like was really downpouring, like really hard. And I was like, wow, you know what? That's I guess I'm walking in this, but it stopped, so it was okay.
Well, yeah, even I think that's dedication when you walk in the rain. But I think that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you have not danced in the rain, make sure you do it before the fall. Go out there. So what if you got your hair done yesterday? It doesn't matter. It's such a beautiful experience, and it's like that inner child that likes to stomp in the puddles when they were little. That is the person who you're doing it for, because it is. It's just a memory, and it's like nothing in your day can go wrong. And it's just like people who say, I love to watch the sunsets, I love to watch the sunrise. That is the same passion that I love to dance in the rain. It's
I
just
like
little
our
things.
I like our mysterious Facebook user. Our
And you
secret. Look at our Facebook. It says a mysterious Facebook user. Looking good, ladies. I walk every morning. Good for the soul. Yes, absolutely.
That's what
Facebook
you have.
user.
Yeah, that's like that's therapy. Those are the clozapams and every other shit people take because they have anxiety or something. That is what works for it. When you have
Oh no, it's Maritza. Isn't that funny? So on my phone, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm looking at the phone and it's Maritza Figueroa that wrote that, but it's showing up on this as just Facebook user.
hola Maritza.
Maritza, thank you. We'll put that there.
Um yeah, so I mean you're right. That quote you gave of your sister, it's never about the weather, it's about the equipment, however it went. Let me tell you that back to my camino. When you're walking the camino, all you need to do is make sure you pack a one of those rain jackets that goes over your backpack. And they would suggest you buy waterproof shoes anyway, and you walk it.
Yes.
And so, it's never about the rain. People walk the camino in the dead of winter. The weather in Spain is like here in Connecticut, so the seasons are the same. And that doesn't stop. People who look for reasons not to do something find excuses in every solution.
Which
Yes.
is perfect. You said that so nicely to segue into our conversation today. You can leave here, which we're hoping that our fabulous guest will be on, but I don't know. It's not looking.
This. Good morning, my beautiful son-in-law, Argenis, Ruthie, Maritza. It's just I love the way those names just roll off the tongue. Argenis, Maritza, Ruthie.
Yes, beauty.
Michelle Houston's watching. Yeah, so and that's, things are going to happen to us. Things are going to, whether they're something you're told, something you witnessed, something you're feeling, there are things that are going to drop you to your knees. And in my experience in the past, I didn't allow myself to feel it. I'm like, all right, so what am I going to do? I'm always like rushing ahead to solve it, to find the solution. And that's because I was raised on what? I was raised on survival mode up until not too long ago. So okay, we don't have time to sit there and be like, oh, what was me? What was me? Is get up, get it done, papa. So this time I allowed myself to feel it and and let it go out as it's supposed to, but not rushed and not holding on to it. Just let it go, let it flow. And you know, your body reacts to things differently. And I think it reacted when you're letting it go, when you're letting it pass through your system, when it's coming out your pores, when you're pissing it out. It doesn't matter, but when you're allowing it out, because people think it's only food or liquids. No, it's the emotions that turn on icky or warm and fuzzy. So this is going to be a good conversation. And because you got to learn that what the solution for the problem is, when you face the problem, the solutions are always there, just waiting for the aha moment for you to realize it. But it's when you deal with the problem, then the solution, then either you step into it or you You allow it in. What I'm saying is, there are going to be things, people, places, triggers that are going to drop you to your knees. Get bruised. Get your knees scraped up. Remember, pain reminds us that we're alive. Allow yourself, acknowledge what's happening, accept it, feel it, and then release it, knowing that the solutions are there. And now let's get to work, because people think dealing with those things is the work. No, the work is, how am I gonna heal from it? How am I gonna help heal from it? And I think that then your body gives you messages. And yesterday I went to bed feeling something. I'm like, but the only thing that I can think of was a matcha tea that I drink. But it was awful. But it was my body now. Because mind and spirit, it had dropped me to my knees. But then now my body was flowing through my body and letting me know this shit ain't okay. This isn't okay. We got to figure this out, because it's not okay. And when you do that, you're going to feel that sickness. You're either going to have a headache, you're going to have a backache, your shoulders are going to feel like you got 5 monkeys on them. And I don't even go to the circus. But then in my issue, it was more abdominal, it was more stomach issues. Because where do we feel everything, mi gente? In our gut. And when
Yes.
you don't let go of stuff, where does it remain? In your gut.
Yeah.
The womb is our sanctuary. And that's where we will feel the pain. That's where we'll feel the hurt. And that's where we're going to feel the confusion. And that's where we start thinking of solutions instead of sacrifice. So all of that, we all have to understand that we have to allow our mind, body, and spirit to get to the understanding, or introduce it to the problem so that the solution can flow through us easier. When we don't do that, then we're going to complain about this, this, and that, and this. And let's just, you know what? Acknowledge, accept, feel
Yep.
it, release it, and celebrate it. And I just wanted to share an experience that it doesn't matter, even if you knew about something, though, when it's brought to your attention in full screen mode, and then it's like, yeah, you're gonna drop. You're gonna cry. You're gonna be like, I am the most terrible person. Why didn't I do this? And then then the why's gotta stop, and you just let it flow. Let it
That's
flow.
right.
This is where I'm at. Where am I going to go? What's the next step? And then what's plan B? And then if plan B is not going to work, okay, then C is going to have to, because I ain't going over the whole fucking alphabet. And then it just goes. You have to give yourself limits too, because if you allow the whole alphabet, then there's a problem for every solution in the alphabet. And I'm just saying it's okay. And I hope this conversation enlightens a little bit on what I'm saying. Badass? Any words from you?
I think too that it's trusting in the process. The fact that you when you did that walk, you were trusting in the process in a lot of ways. You had no expectations. You just went and did what you did. And now your body over the last week has been just having stuff flow through and moving stuff out as it needs to. And you're not fighting it. You're not going, oh my God, I must have picked up something. Something's wrong with me. I'm going to the doctor to check this out. You're just letting it happen and listening to yourself, knowing that it's a part of it. And then if it continued and something else was showing itself, then you might say, oh, okay, this might be a little bit more than just that, but this is what I'm letting happen right now. And it goes along with our conversation today with our guest, Monica, that we're talking about. You can leave here. And it's really a powerful conversation on giving yourself permission, and staying in contact and in touch with yourself. One thing before we do our mantra and set our intention, Maritza Figueroa asked us to do a favor, and she just wanted to mention, and we're going to get some info from her so we
Yes,
can
yes.
post it on the page. So she's having a free master class on June 22nd. And it's called Creating a New Relationship with Yourself, which is absolutely lovely. And it's about building healthy boundaries. And it's going to be a Zoom workshop.
Mhm.
And she will send a link, and we'll post it on the Viva page. And then over the next couple of weeks, we'll post it. And, you can click on it sign up for it. I mean, I think of it this way. I offer a lot of free master classes. Gladiator Guru does her Moments con Margarita. That's a free class. Basically, it's free information. This is free information. Take it all in. Take advantage of the free stuff, because, there's a point in time where, free isn't always going to be available to you, and you take notes and then you make all that happen.
Or the internet.
You use that information, and then when you need more than just the free stuff. You need extra, then hire somebody to help you through it. If you're getting stuck, hire a coach, go that route, because sometimes we need that extra oomph. But take advantage of the free stuff. I can't tell you how many times I have free master classes every week, pretty much. And I have, like, people will sign up, like, I'll fill the whole thing, and, like, maybe out of 30 people that signed up, 3 people show up, but that they showed up and they're getting the information. So anyway, so let's set our intention so we can have our conversations with
Thank
Monica.
you for that, because yes, Maritza, it's so funny because I was typing her personal message when, that's why I said anything you have left to say, because I was going to type her.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And I think it is wonderful, but that's why when people are like, oh, I don't want to charge too much for this, but people who pay for something show up more than, but you know what, it's not even free. It's, what, it's not, I'm giving you something free. I'm sharing my love for humanity. Join me. Let's do this, because sometimes this is the language we got to change, because we do want to help. We do want to share. We want to build, and people are like the dog's tail. They're always way behind. So let's do this.
Look at what Michelle, no worries. We're going to do the mantra right now, and we'll do the intention right now, because she can't stay on because she has to work. So, all right, the intention we're setting as usual on the Viva show, to go out today, and your intention today is to be intentional and
grateful. Live in gratitude.
There you go. Set your intention, whatever it may be, and be grateful throughout your day. Our mantra, here we go. Say it loud, say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I am beyond authentic.
And I keep it as real as I can be.
All right, we're going to bring our fabulous guest on, Monica Ricci. After 20 years in the organizing and productivity consulting space, doing TV and radio appearances, speaking, corporate training, and writing, she realized that what she was best at wasn't organizing or productivity at all. I love that. Her strength in that industry was helping clients create mindset shifts and transformation. So a few years ago, she shifted to coaching. What I was best at wasn't okay. Then in 2020, she lost her marriage, 2 homes, and a business she loved. In the midst of that upheaval, she dropped 30 pounds and built muscle she never imagined possible, creating the health, energy, and strength she had always wanted but could never achieve. Now she used the same process to help individuals and teams transform and create new results. Today, she lives a beautiful nomadic life. There we go. Traveling the country, coaching virtually with individuals and corporate teams, helping people courageously become their best and highest selves. This is, you know what? This could not have been a better time for Monica to be on. When we were talking Tuesday, we were talking to Roger about his bucket list and traveling and how he's been traveling for this last year and a half. You, Gladiator Guru, of talking about really, really considering the nomadic lifestyle. And here we go to bring the fabulous Monica in to talk about this. Here she is. Woo! Good morning, my dear.
Good morning.
Oh my God. We can't remember. Where are you? Are you East Coast or West Coast?
Well, I'm nomadic, so you never know.
True. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm in Philadelphia.
Okay, so you're East Coast, not too bad. We had Roger on Tuesday, and he was West Coast, so we always feel for our West Coast people. But we are so happy to have you, because Listen, I'm feeling it. Gladiator Guru is feeling it. You've been feeling it. And I think that a lot of the tribe members are probably feeling it. I think a lot of people are starting to feel this uneasiness of wanting to move, wanting to go, whether it's just to go on more vacations, just or just literally leave. Like Gladiator Guru is she's been talking to me about really embracing the nomadic lifestyle. What would that mean for her? What would that look like for her? I am ready to move from my current location. I have been for over a year to move to a different state or country. I don't care at this point, but I want to move. I don't want to keep traveling. I just want to find a spot and move and then travel here and there from there. My sister's in the process of just wanting to travel, have one spot to just hang her, coat, but travel. So let's talk about this.
Yes, let's.
All right. Go
I
ahead.
met,
Go for
I
it. Tell everybody your story. Start with that.
Well, my story is, if I could nutshell it, my story is that I went through a life transition. I blew up my marriage. I we sold. We had a house in Atlanta, which we loved so much, and we had a mountain house in North Carolina, which I ran as a vacation rental business. I loved both my homes so much, and we had spent so much time curating vintage items for our home and putting together, this place where we love to entertain and have friends over and all this stuff. And it was, just a beautiful life. And I got to a point where I started listening to my inner voice that I had not listened to for such a long time. And that led me, it certainly was not a quick decision nor an easy decision, but it led me to realize that I needed to make a change. And what I'm learning is that phenomenon is quite common at this stage of life. We get to be at this stage. And so it was a really, really hard year. It was a really hard year. My husband and I went into counseling and whatnot. Anyway, it turned out that we did separate. We sold our things. We sold most of our stuff. I have some stuff in storage in Atlanta still, but I really believe that the reason I went on the road, and I just came to this, by the way, I just came to this realization that I think why I went on the road was because I didn't know how to process the idea of not living in that house that we had worked so hard to to put together to make a life. And so I think that was what my brain came up with, this ingenious idea. Well, then, if you can't live here, how about we live nowhere? How about we live everywhere?
That's interesting.
And that's how it started. And then I realized, look, I know people everywhere. So I am not self-contained. I travel in a minivan. I have a roof rack and a bike rack. And I stay with friends, family, colleagues, some of my fitness Twitter people. When I come to where you are, maybe I'll stay with you. I just travel and immerse myself into life with people for a few days to a few weeks, and then I move on and I work remotely because I'm a coach. And it is absolutely glorious. Really, really beautiful life.
It sounds wonderful, ideal. It sounds like, okay, I need a minivan.
You know what? It's not, it depends what your version of ideal is, right?
True enough. Yes. That's right for you. It's ideal for you.
Right now.
Yes. Right now.
That's the other thing, right? We have these seasons of life we go through, and when your environment doesn't match your season, or when your situation is really out of alignment with the season of life or the place you are or the person you are, it becomes a little bit difficult. And this idea of being out of alignment continues to come up in my work as well with my clients. It's tremendous force in our life when we feel that. And so for now, it's absolutely perfect. And I have a lot of folks ask me, my friends, my family will ask me, well, when are you going to stop? Or where will you live? And the truth is, I don't know, but I'll know it when I know it.
Yes.
I'll know it when I'm ready.
Yes.
And But boy, what a journey, what an adventure, what an introspective opportunity for me to be in people's homes and just live regular life. This is not vacation, right? That's the really cool part about it. This is not vacation. To give you a little snapshot, a little window, I will arrive somewhere, find my place wherever they want me. Sometimes it's the couch. Most times there's an extra room somewhere. I bring in as little as possible from the van. And then I get the lay of the land. I figure out, is there an alarm code? Are there animals that need to be cared for? When does the trash go out? Like, and I call myself the 5-star ninja house guest because when you turn around and the dishwasher is suddenly empty and the dishes are put away and you go, who did that? I did. Or the trash is taken out, or the counters are wiped, or whatever, right? My goal is to be as invisible as possible while having a really lovely, beautiful connection time with my friends. So
You are the best house guest ever.
it's true. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I will say, okay, I'll say to one of my friends, well, you know what? I'm thinking about leaving, pulling out this coming Saturday. And people go, why? Why so soon? No, stay another week. I'm not exaggerating. That happens consistently. And it's fantastic because it makes me know that I'm being respectful of their space, that the way I show up for these folks that I love and that I'm so grateful to is important, and that it's not depleting for them, because the idea of having house guests can be depleting based on who that person is. And I want to be the guest who contributes, not the guest who takes. And so that's what I do.
There you go. You got a place in Connecticut. Chenille Real Deal just said, you're welcome. Her home is open if you need it. Oh look, here we go. You need my address? I can cook. Or
that's my son-in-law.
And this is Florida. So you're like, look, you're getting more and more like
my gosh,
places to go.
How fun. Well, find me on Instagram and message me where you are. We'll visit.
You know what? Do me a favor, Monica. For some odd reason, I couldn't find it, but there's a private chat on here. Just put in there your social media, even if it's a direct link, if you can, or just type it in, and then we'll post it and we'll get everybody to sign up. I want to put a special note here to everybody that's listening. So the title of today is "You Can Leave Here." Should I stay? Should I go? Like, you're asking yourself, should I stay? Should I go?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that Monica said, or at least it sounded like you were saying when you were describing your life, it wasn't bad. It was a good life. You had amazing things.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get away from that gut feeling that was telling you that you needed to end. And that's a little different. Most people are getting the gut feeling because they realize that their life is not good, that they don't have the things that they want. And in your case, those that are having everything that they want then feel guilty because they're like, why do I still feel unfulfilled? Why do I still feel like I want more and this isn't enough? In the end, though, no matter what, the big bottom line here is that you have to listen to what your spirit is telling you. You have to take that time. So when you started to listen to your spirit, you said it wasn't easy and it wasn't quick. About how long, when you first started, was there a little bit of a cognitive dissonance or argument in your head going, like the head and the spirit going, wait a minute, why we have this unbelievable life. Why are you wanting, what is the matter with you? So when did that start? And then when was it that you finally said something to your husband to move forward?
It started many years ago, and I didn't even recognize that it had started because I looking back on it now, I realize I pushed it away. I pushed those thoughts away. Steve Jobs has a commencement speech that he gave, and we refer to it constantly in the clubhouse rooms that I'm in. And one of the quotes he says is, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. And Kierkegaard also said a similar thing. He said, life is only understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And when you look back, we've all had something happen, and we look back in time and we go, oh, now that makes sense. Now that I see the whole picture, right? We've all had that experience. So it was a long process. And one of the things that I said on social media is, by the time a woman decides to leave her marriage, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long conversation. It never happens out of the blue the way it looks. Never. So when I looked back on all these things in my marriage that I believe should have been clues, and they weren't, I realized that I wasn't listening. I was not listening to myself. And the hardest thing is to leave a marriage that's good. God, it's so hard. There's actually a book out there that my friend recommended to me, and I didn't read it, but I'm going to share the title with you because she said it was good. And it's called something like Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay.
Yeah,
Oh.
I've
If I
heard
have
of
it
that book.
backwards.
I heard of that book, and I think you're saying it correctly.
The bottom line is, good is the enemy of great. We've heard that Jim Collins quote over and over and over again, and it's true. And when you get to a certain point in your life and you realize that you've been living good but not great because you've denied maybe what the true desires of your heart are, to fit in with someone else's idea, to accommodate, to whatever the excuses are, the reasons are that we use. You didn't have the skills to ask for what you wanted. You didn't know what you wanted was valid. All the things, it's a whole stew pot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a hard conversation in your own head. It makes sense when your partner is abusive or whatever. It makes perfect sense. Of course she's leaving. She should have left years ago, right? That's what.
And you get the validation from other people too.
And you get the validation from
Yes.
other people. When you're married to a good guy and you have a good life, and there is no seedy underbelly, literally, it's exactly the same as what it looks like on the outside as it is on the inside. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to make sense of it yourself. And it's
I'm
important to make sense of it yourself with help. With help.
And it's good that you said that, because people always look at that there were issues, and there's a lot of marriages that there's no understanding of self, so there's no understanding of the unit, and then you do leave something that is not going to cross your path again. So you really do have to sit with self. You have to know who you are. It's like, how do we get that across to people enough, Monica?
Well, sometimes I think it's a function of just being alive long enough and experiencing enough catalytic thoughts and events that bring you to that place. And this is why I think this happens so much when we get into this stage of life. Now, I don't have children, but I am at an age where my children would be grown and gone. And I think that a lot of marriages suffer that fate, where the couple has been focused so solely on the children for so many years that when the children, the last child is gone and goes to college and is out of the house, the couple is left with nothing between them because they haven't grown a garden the whole time. They've been neglecting the marital garden in favor of growing the children. And then the marital garden is empty, barren, full of weeds. We don't know each other anymore because we haven't tended it. That is not what happened to us because we don't have kids, but I see it everywhere. And so that begs the question, why? Why are we ignoring ourselves? Why are we ignoring our spirits and our voices, the inner voices that are there? They're there. They keep talking. We just don't listen. We just don't listen. I was on a call yesterday with one of my coaching clients, and she is a lovely, vibrant, beautiful young woman in her, I'm going to say probably mid-30s. And one of her accountability items that she has got to do between now and our next session next week is that she has to sit down with her husband. And by the way, she's a business coach client of mine, but business and life all overlap.
Yes.
So she agreed to sit down with her husband and have a conversation about how are we building our family enterprise? Because right now he's operating over here and she's operating over here. and they're not collaborating, and it's not bad, but the seeds are sown for it to get bad and to get disconnected. And so that's her homework for this week. We are building something together, and we've got to both be in it together. And how do we make time to do that? Those are the conversations we got to have with ourselves and our partners and our friends.
And it's, you know, and that's where people get confused, because it's okay to be here and here, because Khalil Gibran says, let there be spaces between you, like the pillars of the temple, and how the cypress does not grow in the shadow of the oak tree. So, I mean, if you really read Khalil Gibran, the prophet, and in that marriage part, and I suggest that to my clients when they say they're having issues. And when I say clients, the majority of my clients are like, I'm going to bring milk and coffee and we're going to have a session, that sort of thing. And that sort of unity has to be that understanding that there's space, but you still have to harvest that crop together.
You do. And, you know, I love what you just said there, Gladiator Guru. I love that you said about the separateness, because that represents, to me, that represents the wholeness of a person and a whole person.
Mm-hmm.
Not a half a person and a half a person, which gets weird and all like this. A whole person and a whole person, then who come together and create a third entity, which is the family, through collaborative work, through bringing their best skills and working together and having conversations and respecting each other's, you know, styles. Absolute important that there is space between each person, because that's another really common thing I think that happens as we get into our 50s, that we've realized that we've subjugated whoever it is that is our whole person to the relationship, and we haven't maintained that piece for ourselves.
Yes, and then the bitterness comes. You know, people like, when I get a partner, it has to be 50-50. No, you have to show up 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. If you expect, the expectation that you have of your partner should be the expectation that you bring forth of yourself. And that's, you know, and what you're saying is absolutely correct, because I think when we show up, we got to show up fully clothed in the fabrics that's sewn into the tapestries of who we are. When we get to know who we are, then we can observe, ask questions, listen, and learn about the other person. And then you can tell what your compatibility is. There's too many broken marriages and ruined relationships because of expectations and assumptions of what we believe that other person to be. Well, who the hell are you? Let's talk about that. Tell me who you are. Like dancing in the rain. Do you like to dance in the rain? No? Okay. Where do you carry your pain? People are like, I'm in so much pain. Where do you carry it? They can't even answer that. What's the missing piece of that puzzle to complete it? They don't know where they put it.
Yeah.
Because,
well, this is so go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think people just they're not used to having permission to ask themselves these questions. They're not used to they look for permission because we've never been taught that way, you know, like to say, what do you want? Like, what do you like? Not what do you want for dinner? Not where do you want to eat? Not where do you want to, it's what is it that you really want? And if you really want that, why are you afraid to ask for it? You know, because you don't have to get other people's permission for what you want, but we always feel like we need to check in with somebody. I need to ask my parents, or I need to ask my sister, or I need to talk to my husband, or what, you know, or my boss. Like there's always this, instead of saying like, this is what I want, and then go from there. I think like if we, again, it's, you know, we're all older now, but if we teach that to children to say, build upon what you are. Like you said, you are whole. You're whole. You don't need anybody to complete you. That you complete me bullshit. You're whole. What is it that you want? And how could somebody connect with you that's along the same lines, you know? And like, I think back to when I was in my 20s and I had clarity in the sense of like, I say sometimes that I was so lost and I was so depressed and I had so much confusion. I wasn't always confused. I would just go and I had an idea, but I allowed myself to be very easily manipulated by the people around me. But when I was allowed to have that space to myself, I became clear on what it is that I liked. And there were certain things that I liked. I was an adventurer. I liked being outdoors. I liked being around animals. I liked hiking. I liked this. I liked that. And if I met somebody that was that way, it was great. But if I met somebody that wasn't, I accommodated or acclimated, should I say, to their lifestyle. And that's on me. You know what I'm saying? That's I don't blame that other person. That's or other people. That's me. That was my choice to not stick up for myself. And so now as an adult, it became so painful internally to say I didn't allow myself to have the things that I didn't make my life the way I wanted it to. My own fault. That was on me. So now what do I need to do that's different? And the calling is so deep within to get out, like to get out of where I am and create something brand new that I got depressed about it last year. And but that's still kept me where I was, you know what I mean? And now it's like, okay, you really want this, get off your ass and do it. So you can leave here. There's if anybody says to me, why are you doing, why do you need to go there? I don't have to freaking answer that question. Why? Because I want to. Period. That's it. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So much is wrapped up in what you just said. And I have this, gosh, the more I work and live and talk to people and just think, the more I truly believe that we are born so complete and so whole and so full of inner knowing and wisdom.
Yes, I agree.
And every day that we spend in our families makes us less whole, less complete, and less confident and trusting of our inner knowing, to the point that we come in whole, we get broken, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to put ourselves back together to get back to the state we were when we were born. And I want to be clear and say that not everyone has a family that deliberately breaks them. Some people do, and that is tragic.
Yes.
But simply managing a family, simply parenting, there is breakage in that process. There is damage in that process. It comes from love, right? Because if you think about what would be the ideal upbringing for a child, any child, a little girl or a little boy, it would be for a parent to encourage their independent side, to encourage the inner voice, to encourage all the gifts that are in there, the genius gifts that are in there.
Right.
But what happens when you encourage all those things? The other side of that is a child who is loud, who is running, who is breaking things potentially, who is ultra creative. So along with genius comes this madness that parents have a hard time with. And so to stop the madness, they also stop the genius.
Yes.
And it's part and parcel of the process. It's just what happens. It is so extraordinary for me to work with people, to see people who treat their children as if they are human beings, and who recognize and who allow these parts of their children to come out, even though it is uncomfortable for them as a parent. And I'm not saying to let your children be disrespectful. I'm not saying any of those things, that no boundaries. That is, of course, not correct, because that doesn't serve us either, to have no boundaries. But allowing a child's inner genius to come out and allowing them to have those times when they can be completely undomesticated, as the Four Agreements talks about, before our domestication, is so important to a child's foundation, I believe. Like, for example, you said about, I didn't know how to ask for what I wanted. Well, I have an idea. If we were to teach children to ask for what they want instead of deciding what they want for them in appropriate ways, again, appropriate ways, if we were to empower children to express how they feel. I'm Gen X, people. I am Gen freaking X. Do you ever think one time that my mother said to me, Monica, how do you feel about this situation? That's hilarious.
You were never asked that? No. Let me tell you something. I was raised biracial, bicultural. And in my early memories of this, and if any of my sisters are on, come make a comment. But we were raised by alcoholics in one of the worst housing projects in Connecticut. And we were taught at a young age how to fight male and females because of where we were living. But if somebody came, my father would tell us, always speak your mind. Stand for what you believe in if you stand alone. He's like, and if somebody comes to me and gives me a complaint about you and they were not being truthful, you need to interrupt me. So, you know how some parents will come and hit you because the neighbor said you were sprinkling their hose?
Yeah.
So we were taught to speak up for ourselves, even if it was to stop our parents from believing what other people said. When I raised my kids and they came to me with a complaint, I didn't just punish them or call the person. I went to that person's door with my child because my child had to see if you're fibbing, you're going to get busted. And if they were telling the truth, then I would have to remind this person that my child is not to be spoken to like that. So that's how we were raised amidst the chaos of the addictions and the craziness of growing up Puerto Rican and Italian in one of the worst housing projects. The lessons that we learned through visually seeing the dynamics of what they did to each other, how their behavior was affecting us, and how for us not to be when we grow up. So that's how I learned it. And
That's
I was raised more on survival skills. Right now I'm learning to be mushy and cry and sit with my feelings, because that still makes me a goddess in awe of myself. Where before it was like, we don't got time for that shit. That's weak and pathetic people shit. And now I'm like, oh, I'm warm and fuzzy. And I still don't know how to deal with that warm and fuzziness, but I've embraced it.
Yeah, it's well, that's extraordinary that your father said that to you. I mean, kudos. That's fantastic. That was never necessarily the message in our house. My mom was a single parent and she only had so much bandwidth. And so there was no, what she called back talk. You don't talk back. You don't say no. You don't
look at me.
No. I got slapped across the face one time for smarting off. I was 13. You know how 13 can be. Ooh, it's tough.
Yeah, my daughter got slapped a lot at that age too.
I got slapped. Now, she only slapped me one time. My mom was not a physical threat, except for that we knew she would. Which kept us in line. But one time I just felt my 13-year-old self and I just smarted off her. That woman's hand was like, I don't know, out of nowhere, lightning. Back of the hand. Yeah. So anyway, I deserve that one. Totally deserve that one.
I've always worn big rings. Yeah. My daughter went to me once at 13. Once. My daughter's 36. If she goes to me now, I'll still backslap her.
Yeah.
She's my baby, right? To my last breath. But it's about the discipline, and it's about, people, real quick on this one, but people, they misinterpret discipline with abuse. It's a thin line. But the discipline has gone out the window, and that's why we have what we have today. Because I'm Generation X. And you do as you're told. And if there's a problem, speak your mind. What is it? You don't want to tell me? Then sit down until your punishment is over. So you give them the option. They still want to be but today's discipline is totally different. And people wonder why kids don't respect their parents. And so it is a thin line, but it is something that I'm grateful for. And although my father was who he was, he did plant those seeds of wisdom in his sober moments. And so my book, I'm writing about him, that I started writing the year after he passed away. It's going to be 15 years this month that he's passed away, and I still can't get past the book. But it's called The Gardener of My Roots. Because of all the seeds he planted, all those seeds of wisdom he planted in our youth, that today I'll go through something, I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. So it's still filtering through, my favorite age. But if Monica, the badass Buddha, and I speak about this all the time, if we take the time to not allow any problems or negative circumstance to suffocate our thoughts, we can see the light in between it and know how to handle it better.
Yeah.
Because we were all taught something, whether we were taught it directly or not. Like, my mother taught us so much, and although I resented her for the most part of her life, the last 6 months of her life was like, like I felt like one of those opera singers singing the, pull out your heartstrings, because I realized that she indirectly taught us how to be these strong warrior women because of her weakness, but she still taught us. And it's like, we got to see past our own bullshit, past our own expectation about how someone's supposed to love you. And
Absolutely.
And then you can see that, you know what, there's those squiggly lines that the message is like speaking through a loudspeaker. And I think when you're with your partner, you have to do the same thing.
That's a whole other talk show, honestly, being able to connect with your partner on a level. And that's what I did not have and was not able to do. And that it has some to do with who he is and how he showed up, but also that's my responsibility. It is my responsibility to advocate for myself, for my needs, for what I want. And anger and resentment always point to an unmet need. And very often that unmet need comes from us not meeting our needs. Yes. It's so easy. It's so easy to say, he's not meeting my needs or she's not meeting my needs. Well, you know what? Your needs come from you expressing them first.
You get that and you get that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is, a journey. This life is a journey of figuring out, what did you lose from your way from being born to today, and how do you get it back in a way that is, healthy and wonderful for you and those around you. And what I realized too is that the more we are ourselves, the more we fill ourselves, the more we are able to model that for other people, especially if we have children. So many mothers, and some of my clients are mothers, young mothers in their 30s and 40s. And the thing that I always make sure to tell them is, listen to me. I know it's hard for you to put 30 minutes in the morning of your calendar for yourself to do this and that, and this and that. That's going to be what I call bucket fillers. It's going to fill your own bucket. But when you do that, and when you take the time and the attention to put on yourself for what you need, you are modeling that for your little girls. You are modeling that for your children, that this is how mommy shows up as her best, by filling her own bucket, right? It's really important. And when mothers in particular feel that the thing they're doing for themselves is going to benefit their child, they're much more likely to go ahead and lean into doing it. It feels a little less selfish that way, Yes. And I say, whatever it takes, if you need to think about it as being a benefit to your child in order for you to exercise every day, or, meditate, or go to bed on time, and, reorder your priorities so that you include yourself in the mix, whatever it takes to get you into that habit, I'm good with, because it's important.
Absolutely.
Bottom line is this, you need to sit with yourself. You need to be quiet. You need to shut the hell up and listen. That's a big piece, right? Quietness. I don't know why people to this day still have a lot of trouble with quiet. Well, actually, I know a lot of times we don't want to sit quietly because we really don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear ourselves. And I do feel for people that just can't do that. Like they have to have the TV on. They have to have something playing. They cannot sit silently. I love sitting silently. I love sitting outside. I don't do it nearly enough, and I have to. And I notice this when I go into my normal practice. I go in spurts. I'll do it all the time, and then I'll pull away and stop doing it. And always when I pull away, always things are harder for me. Things are more complicated. I question things. But when I am giving myself that space for that pause and listening, it's always so much better. So take those moments. If you're feeling something within yourself, and you don't have to name it. You don't have to understand it. Just the feeling is the feeling. Stop. And don't expect to stop the one time and get the answer. Just stop. Make sure that you stop. Set aside time every single day. And if you want, you can ask yourself questions. You can ask yourself, you can ask the divine, you can ask your God, whoever, whatever is in your practice. What are you trying to say? And if you leave it open-ended like that, what are you trying to say? It could be above you or it could be within you. What are you trying to tell me? What am I not hearing? What am I not listening to? What is it that you want? Because the voice will get louder. And if it's telling you to do things that you're not comfortable, you have to write it down and you have to really sit with that even longer, because it is not easy to go against the grain. It's not easy to just all of a sudden say, I got to go. And you're going to meet resistance because, but what is the alternative? Staying where you are and being miserable and then living an unfulfilled life, or taking that chance and making it happen. And mind you, I'm listening to the advice myself as I'm speaking it. I have to put that advice to practice for myself. So
I also
I'm not
want to be,
saying it to other people.
I also want to be really clear that that these voices are not an opportunity that are saying, get the heck out, like bail, cut bait, right? It's an opportunity to say, can I make this work?
That's right.
For me, it's not an opportunity to just leave. So I want to be super clear on that, because what it does is it opens the door to possibility of, well, how can I, let's just say it's about a marriage or a partnership. How can I and my partner work on this? Can we fix this? Can we move this to a better place? Can we reinvent this, right? Is the ember of whatever we thought was there, can it be worked on, transformed, and fueled? And that's worth looking into.
You know, when you put it in prayer, I don't know what everybody's belief is. I believe in God and Jesus Christ. So every night before I go to bed, I'm very specific on prayers. Sometimes I just say thank you for the day that I have, for allowing me to learn, to see, and to experience different things. And we have to sit still in the morning. Give yourself 15 to 30 minutes, because you can't ask for something at night and then not sit willing to receive it, because then when you do get it, you're gonna be like, what's that about? So when you ask for something, then you sit with yourself and you listen for the answers, or you look for the signs. But those voices in your head, when you sit alone, I have four personalities that came to me during horrible moments in my life, and they've served a purpose with me, and they're all different. My late husband named them all, and they all come out every now and again. So we all have chit chats, and I love them. They're like my besties. But I think when you have all of that coming on, what I do is you sit and you write it. What am I feeling now? Why? And you know what I noticed? Because I've acknowledged that I have different personalities because of that horrendous time in my life. I noticed a difference in my handwriting when I'm thinking or speaking something. So I think get to know yourself. I think what are all this? Can you? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to identify what's happening? Are you willing to let go of what no longer serves you? Are you willing to enhance whatever beauty you already have in your life? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Can you? Yes, I can. Will you? I don't know.
That's right.
Right, exactly. And that goes, God, there's so many conversations. We could talk all day, which we won't. But that takes me back to The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, right? The upper limit ceiling he talks about.
Yep.
You can't possibly imagine a better life, a better relationship, more happiness. Because you have this subconscious ceiling that's been installed when you're a little baby, and you don't even realize that it's there. So you self-sabotage to keep yourself below that ceiling, right? It's identifying those things that go, what have I been doing? Why have I not seen this? This awareness of our own patterns. We are the only creatures that are able to observe our own thoughts, to think about what we're thinking, and to observe our own actions objectively and question. Dogs don't do that. Dogs don't,
chimps don't do that.
No, right? So it's a gift. It is an absolute gift. And if we don't use it, I think that we're not in any fashion going to be able to step into what's possible for us and what our human potential is. Only by that awareness, turning that lens inward and looking, inward and going, why am I doing that? what's going on here? I'm feeling this and I don't know about that. Asking questions is so powerful, but we're not trained or taught how to do it. So this is so much of what adulthood is retraining ourselves how to have these skills. If no one teaches you how to roller skate when you're a child, do you imagine that you could show up to a roller rink in your 30s, strap a set of skates on and go flying around like, some Olympic? No. So why do we automatically expect that we'll be able to do things like ask for what we want when no one showed us how to ask for what we want? No one encouraged us how to express our feelings with specific language and how to chant. No one taught all that stuff, but yet we beat ourselves up as adults for not knowing how to do it. So and I always say this, it's not your fault what happened to you, but it's your responsibility now to change it.
Yep, yeah, that's what I always say. It's not what happened to me wasn't my fault, but it's how I choose to live after the fact. And you're right, and it is. We have to be aware of the brilliance and the geniusness of who we are, and love ourselves in that process. Love ourselves, love yourself, and know, you know what? When I walk out the door, I'm the badass person. I am the most cool person you're gonna meet that day because I'm feeling it. And if I meet you, I'm gonna smile. And I think that's what we need. We just need to love ourselves enough to participate in humanity, so that, and then they pay it forward, and that's our responsibility. Be who you are. Be genuine. Walk in your truth, and be kind, and sprinkle that shit like fairy dust. Be kind.
Yep.
So let's start a new pandemic. Love humanity. Be kind. Be grateful.
That sounds good to me.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Well, Monica, this was really wonderful, and we definitely can have you on. It's almost like we really should, because then we can figure out where you are. It's like we have to track you. So if we have you back on in like a couple of months, then we'll be like, where's she now? Where is she now? It's like, where in the world is Monica instead of Carmen San Diego?
Right? It's so funny. Some of my clients do say that. Where in the world is Monica San Diego? Because when I pop in, I do my coaching on Zoom, just like this. And so my background is constantly changing. And people are like, oh, where are you now? Where are you now? So I also have to tell you, I went to dinner with my sister. She lives in the Philadelphia area. I went to dinner with her and her husband last week. And we were talking about her retirement, which is not happening anytime really soon. But whatever, she's in the middle of her life, so she's thinking about it. And I said, well, I think I'm going to offer a new service of retirement city scouting because I'm seeing so many cool places, so many little towns and little cities. I was like, give me a list of your criteria, and I will just, on my travels, make a short list of you for cities that meet your criteria. And then when you go to retire, you could just pick one of these 3 instead of having to choose from the whole country. So.
Nice.
That's good. That's smart.
Do that. You're opening up new ideas with what you're doing. Fabulous.
Yeah, exactly.
So Monica, thank you so much for coming on. We really are grateful to have you, and the information that you provided to our tribe and to the both of us. And you definitely resonate and align with us for sure, and definitely the show. So thank you so much for coming on and being here. We really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch with you to see. I mean, I'll see you on Clubhouse because I'm always on Clubhouse, but we'll see like where you are. It'd be really cool to like keep track of you and maybe inspire people. Same thing, Gladiator Guru. She's always traveling too. It'd be nice to keep throwing these out. So maybe periodically Facebook message us where your location is, and we'll sort of keep this running little thing going. And the same thing with Gladiator Guru, because it inspires people. Oh my God, look where they are now. Look where she is now, to do something. So
that sounds really fun. And you know what? It's so great too, because we've unpacked, we've touched on teeny tiny little other really important topics that we could certainly, unpack down the road, each time. But yeah, that would be really fun. Let's do that.
I agree.
Right.
Okay, great.
Any last minute Gladiator Guru?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody have an absolutely fabulous weekend. Get out. You can leave, your choice. You don't have to leave like far. You could just do a short day trip. We're just saying, just be adventurous and listen to your spirit and listen to your soul. So thank you so much for listening. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.